All right, this is our final 15 minutes. We're going to have a couple brief comments from folks as we wrap up, and then we'll get you out of here on time for your flight. So I wanted to start off with our COPS Office Director, Ron Davis, to let him kind of give his wrap-up kind of thoughts based on what's taken place over the last 2 days. So, Director?
Thank you. So I'll make it brief. I know people have flights to catch, and it's been a great 2 days. Let me thank you for, one, attending, but also let me thank you. You really reminded me over the last couple of days of what role I have. And so as I leave the COPS office, you reminded me that this is not my office, this is our office, that the leadership in this room created the office, the leadership in this room will sustain the office, the leadership in this room will help this office lead the field into what clearly is going to be a transformational process in the next 10 years to 20 years that we move with law enforcement. And so we have a lot of great work ahead, and it's going to be exciting. It is impressive to hear you, to see what you're doing, and it reminds me of our motto that our job is to help the field advance the field, because the answers to the problems and challenges we're facing are actually in this room, and it's a great privilege to be able to work with you and watch those answers. You know, too often the directors and chiefs and mayors, we get all the accolades and the press interviews, but behind the scenes are really the staff and the people that work with us that really make it every day. So if you don't mind, Mr. President, I'm gonna use my time to ask my team to stand up, introduce themselves, because I think their introduction is more important and more valuable than any words that I can say. So if I could have the COPS office team stand up.
We're going to clap even before they say it.
Yeah. And I'll start with one of my assistant directors. Your name, your position, how much you love the director. No, it's kind of your name, position, and how long you've been with the office.
Dave Peter, I'm assistant director for external affairs. Like the Olympics, this is the best director ever. And that's it.
Hi, Shannon Long. I'm a senior policy analyst in the External Affairs Division. Been working with the Conference of Mayors now for going on 14 years. So love this organization, love what you all do, and just honored to be here. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Jessica Mansurian. I'm a policy analyst in the Partnerships and Technical Assistance Division. I want to thank Laura Waxman for doing such a great job. I've been with us and I've been with the COPS office for 4 years.
I'm Helene Bushwick. I'm the Acting Assistant Director of the Partnerships and Technical Assistance Division. I've been at the COPS office for 6 years, and this has been an incredible and meaningful 2 days, and we appreciate everyone's input and just your support of the COPS office has been incredible.
Good morning. I'm Sandra Webb. I'm the Acting Principal Deputy at COPS, and he is the director that put me in this position, so I'm thrilled. I've been at the COPS office for 13 years in various positions in grant operations and community policing advancement, and this is one of the greatest teams that you'll ever work with. So thank you to the COPS staff and to the Conference of Mayors for letting us come and enjoy this celebration with you. It means a lot.
Over to our right.
I'm Jamie Brown. I'm the Human Capital Officer for the COPS office, and I've been at the COPS office for the whole 20 years. So I felt very honored to be here for the conference, and also to have an opportunity to talk directly with President Clinton. That's the thrill of my day. Everybody's teasing me about that. And I just want to say to all of the COPS employees, thank you for allowing the internal HR person to come and see all the great work that you do. I appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Before Wayne goes, she has a side job. She's an outside linebacker. And if you would have saw her do her run towards the president, you would see what I'm talking about. She knocked 3 or 4 people down to get to him. So.
This all me? I know. Hey, y'all. My son's a linebacker, so he taught me well.
Good morning. My name is Wayne Henry. I'm the COPS Office Deputy Director for Management Services. Before the director goes ahead and says that I'm the one who basically manages the money for the COPS office. So.
He's got cards. He's got checks in his pocket. And it doesn't surprise me that the person that didn't speak, the least quiet person, is the last person who's going to introduce himself. He's the one that keeps me on track, runs the office, has to deal with everything, every logistics. So, John, please introduce yourself.
My name is John Wells. I've been with the COPS office 5 years, and I'm Special Assistant Director Davis.
This is the outstanding team that will be working with your teams and with you. Many of you have already shared with me your interaction with them, and I just thought as we move forward, because this is really a defining moment. I've been in law enforcement for close to 30 years, and we've seen things come and go. I think Chief Ramsey mentioned yesterday about holding the attention of the nation. I think we have the opportunity to do that. This is a defining moment, and I would want to make sure, from my personal part, that when history looks back at this time, this very moment, that it will say that this was the generation that actually went to that next transformational period. We basically turned crisis into opportunity, and we served our communities to the best that we could. And as I look around this room, it's just amazing, the talent and the leadership. So I just leave very invigorated, very excited. Thank you to the U.S. Conference of Mayors for your leadership, for this partnership, and we look forward to the continued work. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. As we wrap up, our CEO, Tom Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to just reflect a little bit and also touch on 2 or 3 things that have been said here. We heard Chief Ramsey talking about a commission yesterday. We see in the press reports the Attorney General calling for a national commission. And I just wanted to give you something to think about that as a young man I had something to do with. I came to Washington to work with Sergeant Shriver, and we created the Job Corps, which really was dealing with a lot of youth, the same we're having today. And I had a president named Lyndon Johnson, and during that time we had great riots. And he formed this commission called the Kerner Commission, and he put 11 people on it. We're talking about Ferguson, but President Johnson said when he formed the commission after the riots that took place in the 60s, it was interesting that the riots took place in the North. The riots didn't take place in Birmingham and in Greensboro and in Atlanta where the civil rights struggle. The riots took place in the North. And he said, I want to know, and I hear about Ferguson, I want to know what happened, why did it happen, and what can be done to prevent it from ever happening again. That was what President Johnson said in 1967. The report was released in February of 1968. And when it was released, it was like the Ken Starr tapes. I mean, everybody was lined up to get this book, to read that we were racist. You know, we had a civil war, we had civil rights, but we were racist. We were black and white. 1 month after the report was released, they killed Dr. King. 2 months after Dr. King, they took Bobby Kennedy out. 2 very, very important figures on this whole question. He started the Office of Juvenile Delinquency, et cetera, et cetera. And then we went to 68 for the Chicago Convention, and y'all remember that one. I was so glad when 68 was over. So where are we? What do we do after that? They call for legislation. This is very important what I'm fixing to say, boys and girls. They formed something called the LEAA. And let me tell you something, sweetheart, it was not the COPS program. 1 year after the LEA was, they put the money out there, 1 year after the LEA was formed, the money went out, we did a survey. National League of Cities, where are you, Mayor Becker, U.S. Conference of Mayors, did a survey. Here's one fact. The state of Michigan got a helicopter and a tank. Lansing, Michigan got a Polaroid camera. What I'm trying to say, if we're coming up with something new, let's make sure we get it to the police departments. We had some of this before. It gets stuck in the state capitals. If we're going with a commission, we've got to also make sure that you guys and women are on the commission. In '67, we had a dynamic mayor named John Lindsay, who I worked with for many years. We had one of the greatest police chiefs in history from Atlanta. Herbert Turner Jenkins was his name. Great chief. So we got to make sure, Mayor Ramsey, that we get IACP, major chiefs, and perfs involved in this national commission, and we're going to have it. Now, when Clinton came in, when President Clinton came in, it was a kind of thing where we were working on mandates, President Johnson. We were in L.A., and Wellington Webb called me out of the room. He said, you know, working on these damn mandates is wonderful, but we got drive-by shootings all over this nation, and we got to go talk to Bill Clinton. That's exactly what he said, and that's exactly what happened. Took about 10 mayors over there. Laura, you were there. Took about 10 mayors over there, meet with the president. The president said, y'all come up with something and meet me here on December the 8th. We went to the National League of Cities. We went underneath the National League of Cities building. We were not even involved in the meeting. We had 6 chiefs, 6 mayors, and no liquor. Chocolate chip cookies and coffee for about 12 hours, working. Then went to Chicago, and we had magic markers and everything all the way around a room like this. Everybody, all you guys were in there working. That's what we have to do. If we're going to come up with a plan, which Mayor Johnson and I have been talking about, we need to keep you guys together. We need to come to our winter meeting and come forth with some recommendations. It's very important. We have inside the organization, still alive, formed by Pat Murphy, the Mayors and Police Chiefs Task Force. We also have the Criminal Justice Committee, which is chaired by Mayor Parker from Houston. So what I'm saying is, y'all come back, let's all come back together, and let's all go to work. There's 2 or 3 things going on. One, we got a new Attorney General. Let me tell you something. The U.S. Conference of Mayors is going to be here, and the cops is going to be here, right? 14 years, whatever. We're going to always be here. But we got a new Attorney General. That's new power coming into us. And I want to mention it in case you've forgotten it, that when you wake up after New Year's Eve, you're looking at a new president. You're looking at a campaign for a new presidency. And so I know that, we're not supposed to talk about that, but we have to realize that when the president is elected, he or she will want to hear from us. So we've got some good work here to do in the next year and a half. I think this will be a defining moment for the future of policing in America. This meeting right here, I can tell you I've been there before. This can be a defining moment. And we've got to come up with new strategies. And you need to quit, you need to know something. Police departments are very important to the American people right now, because a lot of people are frightened about ISIS. A lot of people are frightened about the fact that we can't seem to lock the front door on the White House. And a lot of people are frightened about Ebola. But when I lived in Washington, D.C., where I still live, when the stuff went down, if I turned that TV on and I saw Chief Ramsey was there, and now I see Chief Lanier, I feel better. And I think if anything is working, overall, it is what the police officers and the police chiefs do for America. We will continue to have these issues, and they're not going away unless we work harder, and that is what we're all about. I just got a congratulatory note from Mayor Morial, who runs the National Urban League, and he wants you to know, President Johnson, that he supports what we have started here today, and he'll be working with us. We have to have Perf with us. Chuck's got to be with us. We have to have IWCP, because that is the infantry of the police departments, and you know it. They have got to be with us from a programmatic scale. We have to be united. And with the police chiefs and the mayors, we can get anything we need. And, let's don't be talking about money. When we worked with President Clinton, we never mentioned money. We just talked about what we needed. Like, how many cameras do you need, right? We started off with 50,000 police officers, and all of a sudden somebody came up with 100,000, right, Laura? And, somebody did a survey, and I said, did you see the survey? I said, oh, yeah, I saw the survey. My point is that we need to talk about what we need. That's what we got to figure out. We have to figure out what we need from the federal government. And this is the last thing I want to say. We're going to compile the money that local taxpayers pay to protect America. You see, a lot of people think a lot of federal money is into this. But I want you to look at the budgets of small cities, large cities, and medium-sized cities on what you are investing in the safety of America. If the mayor of Bonn, Germany, told me, if there's a robbery next door, they don't call me, they call the national government. Same thing in Tokyo, same thing in Latin America. You guys know, you studied it, you live this stuff. The American police departments they are operated and run and funded by local governments. So it's time for us to put that up there on the screen, you know. We're not begging, we are paying our part. And if we need to look and re-examine, Mayor Nutter, some of the priorities of the way the money is being spent in Washington, I think we can definitely do it on this subject. If not, we can't do it on anything else. So we look forward to, Mayor Johnson and I have been talking about the winter meeting. We plan our meetings about 3 months ahead of time. You know, we are agile and mobile and 3.0. So this meeting, I think, will definitely influence our winter meeting, which will be the meeting that we'll have in January. And I look forward to working with all of you as we approach that meeting and working through our committees to continue in this great work that you do. And we thank you so much for being here and look forward to seeing you soon again. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, we're wrapping up. I just want to say thank you to all the law enforcement and chiefs for coming out. I want to thank all the mayors. I want to thank all the respective staffs. U.S. Conference of Mayors, Laura, great job for putting on an incredible event. I want to thank yes, let's give them a round of applause. I want to thank Vice President Stephanie Rawlings Blake for your leadership. Go Baltimore Orioles, I'm with you on that. She got a cool little outfit of her decked out in her Oriole gear. We should send that, that was a bobblehead? So go Orioles on that. Past President Nutter, thank you for your leadership. Certainly Mayor Riley as well. I'm going to give the last words here in a sec to our hometown mayor, and then he'll transition us into the next event. Let me just say, I'm proud that we had a really honest discussion about what the proper balance between police responsibility and community responsibility is. I thought that was a great, honest discussion. Also, I think it's clear that we need to overcome the barriers in terms of how we relate to each other, and I think President Clinton said it best, is we can't afford not to know our neighbors. And I think that was one of the themes that came out of here today and yesterday. Promoting transparency in policing and investigating and what we share and how we share out with our community, especially within tight timelines, is something that I think was very helpful for us. And then lastly, being proactive, because community engagement after something happens is very difficult. But if we can do that on the front end and build that trust, then it gives us the latitude that we need kind of going forward. So again, on behalf of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and President, we had a great 2 days, and let's give a round of applause for our last speaker, Mayor of Little Rock. Come on up, Mayor Mark Stadola. I want you to know it's 11 o'clock for the record, too.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. We're going to have a phonetics spelling practice on my name with you. You've been back and forth on that 3 or 4 times now. You're regressing now. But let me just say thank you all for your participation on this. I think it really does put an exclamation point on the importance of what we do. It is the most important thing we do as public servants, and that is to try and keep our citizens safe so they can have a wonderful life in their own hometown, in their own community, and in their own schools. And it's tough stuff. There is no question about it when we hear about the challenges that we've got. The action does not happen in the halls of Congress. The action doesn't happen in the halls of our state capitals. It happens in our streets. And so this commission issue is very, very important. And the ability to speak out and be a national voice on this is very important, and that's what's happening here, I truly believe. And as President Johnson's moniker is 3.0, I only want to add one other element to that. It really does confound me on why we continue in terms of the prison system and the parole system to not use the technology that's available in this world. And we all know, as police chiefs and law enforcement professionals, as mayors, as prosecutors, whatever you happen to be, that we cannot build our way out of the issue in terms of confinement and punishment. We have got to think smarter, and we have got the technology to do so many unbelievable things in this world. We have got to take that aspect of our Department of Justice and really work hard and use the technologies out there and get it deployed so that there are better ways to keep up with these people once they're released from the penitentiary system or from whatever type of incarceration they have. So I hope we'll add that to our commission request as a 3.0 issue. Let me just say thank you, Ron Davis. Thank you to the COPS program, the Justice Department. You've been a great co-host with us. We appreciate your support. I want to thank, of course, the U.S. Conference and staff. Laura, it's been wonderful working with you. I'd like to mention my staff. I want to thank Phyllis Dickerson, who's been running around here making sure everybody's been taken care of. And certainly the sponsors. Our sponsors are critical to the ability to put on something in a beautiful city like Little Rock. And I hope that you've had a chance to enjoy this beautiful city and what it means right here in Middle America. It's no wonder that a few months ago, Kiplinger's research service named Little Rock as the #1 most livable city in the United States, under 1 million people. I'm very proud of that, and we beat that drum all the time, and I hope you've had a chance to enjoy a little bit of that beauty and some of that livability. We are now for mayors and others that are here, we are going to be transitioning now into a summit on ports and exports. We're going to be talking about the economic development issues that we mayors and community leaders have, and the responsibility we have to try and grow our cities, to create the jobs that we want these young people that we've been talking about to do those things. So,
Can we give the president?
Mayor Johnson, thank you.
He's got a plane.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. So we're going to be transitioning into a luncheon at the Capitol Hotel at noon, and Major General Mike Weir with the U.S. Corps of Engineers is going to start us off on the importance of our inland ports and waterways. So please join me in the Capitol Hotel at noon. I'll see you there. Thank you so much.